Hi everyone, welcome to our very first episode of Kimchi and Chutney, our latest podcast. I'm Alokaparna.
And I am Borami Seo. Hello.
Hi guys.
This is interesting because this is our very first recording, right?
Across not seven seas, but across some seas.
Some says. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this opportunity. What do you think?
I think this is an opportunity we've grabbed ourselves, so I'm really excited about this new thing that we are trying out.
Obviously, this is gonna be introductory recording, so we want to introduce ourselves to people who are going to listen to us and just have a chat about why we started and what we want to talk about and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I want to make this like very chilled and just conversation between friends. Like, although, we are having this long distance friendship, but somehow it's been working.
Yes.
So I want to, start with asking you why you came up with this idea of podcasting.
All right. So for me, what the thing was that we've been friends, we've been colleagues for about 6 years, 7 years right now, and then friends for about 5 years now. And
Oh,
it's been an interesting ride, especially because we started out as a fun, we used to meet in conferences, but through our calls, what happened was that instead of keeping in touch on social media, we started keeping in touch actually in real life through calls, through messages,
hmm.
uh, and
WhatsApp.
not really WhatsApp, which sort of put us in connection with each other in reality and not through the veil, not the veil behind social media, which is
Right.
liking each other's photos and things. And I think we've had our share of good times and bad times where one of us has been down and the other one has helped us
Oh, yeah.
cheer the other person up. So I think that's what is required in this world. So I feel that the world has become more and more divided right now. And even though both of us come from different cultures, different languages, different, we've been raised very differently. And yet, when we talk, we have similar issues, we have similar problems, we laugh at the same things, we have the tendency to cry at the same things. So I think,
Although we have
just
a very different taste in celebrities.
you probably don't like Indian celebrities or don't know about, but I love one Korean
Yes, you
celebrity.
do.
So I think the friendship across the differences has sort of helped me, want to build a platform where people can come and celebrate differences, can come and make the world a little bit smaller, given its tools that it has,
How
without
positive. How positive. Go on.
So I don't know, just we always celebrate how much alike we are, generally as people, but we don't celebrate that in spite of the differences, how people can get along. So I think the fact that you and me as me can become friends, I think it's so nice
I
to
hope.
have that bond. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's why I thought of this
Hmm.
podcast. Why did you say okay to this podcast, Rami?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't sure how serious you meant, but then I listen to podcasts a lot. Like when I'm on the subway, like when I walk and when I go to the market, when I go to like different places. And podcast to me, like it keeps me distracted, and also I'm hearing, like listening to new stuff, like a new perspectives of people from different countries. And this podcast come make us to come together, and I've been really enjoying listening to it. And when you suggested, I was like, okay, maybe we can start just as a fun, like. this is we have this sort of conversation anyway, so why don't we record and share with other people, because I would be really interested in sharing my opinions and thoughts and hearing their comments and feedback as well. And I'm generally like I like learning like new stuff, so I thought this can be a very interesting way of starting our adventure. And there are social issues that I feel like sometimes I really want to voice on,
Mm-hmm.
and we've kind of like discussed the sort of topics what we want to talk about. So those are the things that like I feel strongly about. I wish sometimes I wish I had a platform where I can talk about with other people and hearing from other perspectives, because as you know, I don't really do social media. I don't do Facebook or Instagram. I'm trying to keep a distance from all the stuff. So because like the good thing about having social pages is that you can put out your opinions and thoughts, and there will be people commenting it. And if there is any specific issues that you feel strongly about, you can talk about, you can post like you can share a link. And I sometimes wish I have that platform.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than just talking to myself all the time,
Yeah.
podcast will be a good way to start. So I'm really, really glad that you suggested and you came to me um, to propose this idea.
Yeah, yeah, I think, this thing that you said about wanting to talk about your opinion. And the thing is, I'm not an expert on many things, and neither are you.
Mm.
And but we are still learning, and it's nice to just be able to have that platform where we can put out our thoughts. It might not be the most correct one, but it is the most
Yeah,
honest one.
yeah. Well, like the talk about correct ones, I'm a bit. I don't know if I should be, but I'm really bad with receiving like a bad feedback on me. And I will obviously we will have to make sure we get the fact checks and everything. But
Yeah.
hopefully we won't have many nasty comments about us talking. You know, I
I
mean,
mean, we have to be factually correct, but
of course,
our
yeah,
our opinion on something
yeah,
can differ from somebody else's opinion, but
yeah.
ex- and that is exactly why we are here, where we can agree to disagree and yet be friends.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, you've told me some podcasts that you like to listen to. Tell me about your favorite podcast then. What do you like to listen to other than My Favorite Murderers?
So my absolute favorite is My Favorite Murder, because
Hmm?
I was really down in the dumps, right, a couple of years back, and I wasn't able to concentrate on work. I was going through a huge phase of loneliness. I
Mm.
wouldn't call it a phase, but I was just generally lonely because my life consisted only of work, home, work, home.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, what can I do? I wanted to listen to people and not listen to advice, but just be around people. And
Wow.
so I was looking for true crime stuff, and I came across My Favorite Murder,
Mm-hmm.
which was popular, but it wasn't popular in my country, so it was a little weird. So I just downloaded this, and it's my absolute favorite, and I continue to listen to it. I've heard every single episode of it. So one is my favorite murder. I listen to 80,000 hours.
80,000 odds.
The 80,000 hours.
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 Hours. Okay, I
Yeah.
need to Google that because I didn't know about that one. Okay, thanks for the information. Carry on.
Podcasts about what we eat, how to do good better, on effective altruism,
Mm.
and some things on everything that you needed to know about something, that kind of podcasts. But I think
Mm.
the ones that I really want to talk about would be My Favorite Murder, 80,000 Hours, and TED Talks, basically.
Right. Okay.
What about you?
I mean, I listen to podcasts to distract myself. Otherwise, my thoughts can be really, really just want to work. And sometimes it's nice to not think about work outside your working hours, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So because sometimes I find myself really difficult to be distracted. So the things that I listen to most, and the one that I really like, is Guilty Feminist. The
Okay.
Guilty Feminist. It's a UK podcast. There are some women stand-up comedians. They get together and talk about various issues, obviously, including feminist and feminism, and how women are treated in different cultures and different environments. And they sometimes do live podcast with the audience, doing some sort of stand-up comedies, and I really enjoy that. And one of the issues they feel strongly about is refugees, and I've actually learned a lot about refugees, because
Oh, wow.
obviously Korea is very far away
Mm-hmm.
from like a EU and the countries where most of refugees will go to, probably. And we, as a society in Korea, we don't talk about that sort of problem, war, and welcoming people from different backgrounds, from difficulties, including refugees. So I've really enjoyed just learning new things, and just think about what it would be like, and the life that they're going through, and the different like experiences they're going through. So that's why it's really, really interesting for me, and that's my favorite. And it's also funny, because the stand comedians, they come up and join the conversation, and I like British humor. So one another thing that I really like is the one that talks about mind and the mental health problems and the mental awareness, and it's called that. Oh yeah, Happy Place. Happy
Oh.
Place. It's by Fawn Cotton, British presenter. I don't know. I can say so. Happy Place. They invite different individuals who's gone through very difficult times, depressions and anxiety and social pressure, difficult times. So how they get over the pressures and the difficulties they are going through. So I'm finding it inspiring, because it's just so easy to complain on our daily lives,
Yeah.
yet there's nothing really much to complain about when we actually think about. So it kind of broadens my perspectives and my feelings, and also I'm a complainer, so I really like that one as well. Yeah, but I know you've been talking about this My Favorite Murder, but I don't know if I can say I'm really into crime stories, because it can give me some nightmares at night. So I'm trying to keep away from that sort of things.
Yeah, so I love murder mysteries, and of course, it can also be because I have the privilege of being away from them till now, touch wood.
Mm.
And I mean, I've always been fascinated with things that have happened
Mm.
in our real life. So, true crime, like why has this person done this? What's the reason behind it? What was the upbringing? What is it based on upbringing? Every true crime episode, and my favorite murder is there are these two women, one who is a stand-up comedian, who is a comedian and writer, and the other one is she's also a TV personality. But they come together and talk about what are their favorite, like what sort of murders have fascinated them.
Oh,
And when they talk about it, they're not making fun of it. It's not like, oh, I love this murder. It's about what is, the interesting story behind it,
mm.
what they learned from it, and it's also a very like feminist approach to it. And
Oh, I
just
like
being,
that.
and I just love listening to it because it makes me seem like I'm sitting in there, sitting with them and talking about this.
Right. Well, you know what? At this point, I'm thinking probably we should get sponsor from My Favorite Murder.
And guilty feminist.
Oh, I love that. That'd be really nice. And I mean, I like I like listening to stand-up comedies. Is it popular thing in India?
Yeah, in fact, I'm going out tonight for a stand-up comedy show.
Oh,
So
oh, I'm
it's
so
really
jealous.
popular.
You never took me to stand-up comedies when I was in India.
Yeah, well, I'll teach you English, Hindi first, and then it's not fully in Hindi, but it's
Uh,
part of it is in Hindi, part of it is in English. So if you don't understand Hindi, it becomes you might
yeah.
miss out on the jokes.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, maybe learning Hindi should be my another side project other than this podcast.
Maybe, and I'll learn Korean. To
Yeah, yeah,
to
very good luck
cho
with
sang
that. Okay, we will get to that. We will get to that at some point in the future episodes. So let's sort of talk through what we want to talk about in the future episodes because this is just really introductory, for anyone to tune into our podcast, what we are about and how we started, and things we want to talk about in the future.
Okay, do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a list of topics that perhaps I feel strongly about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it includes humans as well, such as Trevor Noah, because I'm really. Do you know Trevor Noah, by the way?
Of course, I know Trevor Noah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Is he famous in India?
Since the Daily Show, yeah, he is.
Ah, okay. Like, what's the general Indians' opinion on Trevor Noah? I'm just
I,
really
I
curious.
I don't have facts to tell you that um
Should we Google?
what percentage and how much people like. Yeah, I'm just googling like if there is
How
something.
much
But I
Indians
know.
like Trevor Noah? Well, Trevor Noah is one of the topics I want to talk about. So this sounds stupid. I want to make our podcast talking about Trevor Noah. It's just I'm really fascinated about, this, the things he talks about, and he's just really sexy inside out. I think, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he's a very attractive man, and I think he's one of the few non-Indian comedians who gets the Indian accent very well. So
Oh.
I'll definitely research a little more about Trevor Noah during for our episode, which does cover him.
Okay, aside from Trevor Noah, I want to talk about recently there's a school children's march for climate change,
Yeah.
and climate change is one of the subjects I feel strongly about, and how young people are engaged, and mental health is obviously one of them. Refugees, and also we all know how much I feel strongly about plastics. So I want to talk about plastic problem and recycling and protecting environment in general.
Mm-hmm.
And social media, although I don't really use social media, I think, obviously our world, our society is like so much dominated by how social media is working and how people are using the platforms. So that's one subject. Favorite celebrities aside from Trevor Noah, because we all know who you really like in Korea. So maybe we
Mm-hmm.
can cover a bit of Korean celebrities. Although I don't really know much about Korean celebrities, there would be just one problem as a Korean.
Maybe you talk about Indian celebrities and I talk about Korean celebrities.
Then to be able to do so, I know something about Indian celebrities, right?
Yeah, so of course have to do a research on them.
Okay. I mean, celebrities, your heart has to be there, right? General interest in celebrities. You wouldn't
So
just.
you've made a list where number one is Trevor Noah, number five is favorite celebrities, along with Trevor Noah in brackets. So you want to discuss him twice.
No, just it's just my thoughts, and also perhaps cosmetics, because Korean cosmetics is very popular, as you know, as well as Korean snacks. I noticed like seaweed is just such a thing for a lot of people, Korean
Yeah.
seaweed snacks. So that's included. Marriage, because we are at the age where, although I don't really want to decide marriage or not, depending on our age, but that's why it happens a lot in Asian cultures. The marriage relationship in our society.
Hmm.
And yeah, these are the few things that I feel like maybe we can talk about. What about you?
So what I really want to talk about, and it can be really anything, what we are going through every day, anything that interests us. But I would love to talk about the perception of, issues and the difference of them being in Korea and in India, for example, mental health,
Yeah.
marriages, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
uh, women, where do women stand?
Yes.
How how liberated are we? Where does feminism stand? Is it a, because in India, for example, people still uh, consider feminism to be a bad word. Uh,
What?
I mean, in the sense that many people still don't consider themselves feminists. They think, oh, we are being extreme then. So, how is
Oh.
feminism sort of looked at? Where are women positioned in the society, in the Indian culture, in the Korean culture? Again, about animals, relationships, body shaming.
Mm.
How is it that it's my body and somebody else's opinion?
Mm.
Obviously, my cat agrees.
Ole. Yes, yes, yes. We hear you.
And then, maybe we'll take questions from other countries on animals.
I
I mean,
love that.
status of animals in India and Korea.
Mm.
What do people think about reproduction in this day and age when we are talking about climate change
Mm.
and global warming? Then where
Mm.
does the role of population play? And what is my opinion, your opinion?
Mm.
And of course, nicer topics about first loves, harder topics about
Oof.
first heartbreaks.
I'm
And
getting emotional already.
so, if anybody is listening, and when we do release the recording, when anybody is listening, maybe they should write back to us and we'll give them our email ID so that people can start talking to us. What would
Yes.
they like for two strangers to be talking about?
I mean, that's one thing because I can't imagine just like people wanting to listen to two strange girls just talking about their lives and their thoughts. But we'll see, we'll see.
We'll see. I think we're doing it for ourselves because
Yes.
maybe if, for example, many podcasts have helped you, many podcasts and
Yeah.
audiobooks have helped me.
Mm,
So we never know whom you touch. If you don't touch anybody, at least it'll help the both of us
mm,
out and just talking. And
yeah.
maybe it's 5 episodes down the line, we'll be like, hey, listen to our first episode. We sounded so childish.
Yeah. Hope not. Um, well, I'm really excited generally, and I'm really looking forward to just sharing our thoughts with other people as well because I always like to hear from other people. So it'll be really great if we can engage with people who are listening to our conversation in the future. I should mention one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm Korean, but I'm not speaking in Korean. You're not speaking in Korean, so I'm not sure how much Korean listeners will tune into this. So or whereas Indians, obviously, there is no problem with English communication. So I'm kind of interesting if we will have any Korean listeners, to be honest, although this is going to be about kimchi and chutney.
Yeah, and I think that's what we should cover in our first episode, right? Like why kimchi and chutney? Like what does
That's the thing.
kimchi?
Yes, we are very organized. Now we are talking about the title of our podcast, Kimchi and Chutney.
Yeah, so why kimchi and chutney,
I mean,
Rami?
I think it's obvious. Kimchi is like very traditional Korean people, and it's a food. It's the food that Koreans cannot live without. Like kimchi Korean, they are the same. They are the equal. Like kimchi equals Korean. So kimchi is the very important food to a lot of Koreans. Although, well, we will get into other kimchi problems. But and the chutney is obviously Indian thing, right?
Yeah, so chutney is some sort of a sauce, or which is sort of any sort of food's accompaniment. You can have chutney with anything. If your food is bland, if your food is spicy, if you can always add chutney. Chutney can be sweet, chutney can be spicy, chutney can be tangy. So chutney is your best friend for your food.
Oof, in India, right?
Yeah,
And when I asked around people, Korean people, if they know what chutney is, people didn't know. So
there needs to be
maybe,
more Indian restaurants in Korea for sure.
oh yes, yes for sure. I wouldn't complain with that. And maybe we can talk about chutney in one of our future episodes.
Yeah. And what's
So,
the best thing to have with what's the best kind of chutneys to have with different foods, and probably just post a recipe of one of the better, easier recipes or something, because
yeah.
I'm not a great cook. I need a proper recipe to cook anything, but I love eating.
Well, food is one of my passions for sure, and yours as well. So
Yeah.
we will definitely talking about food in the future. Oh gosh, I can't wait. I feel like we should be actually eating something while we are talking about food, because I'm not sure if I can only talk about food and not eating. So that's one thing to think about for our future podcast. And so yeah, that's why we have this podcast named Kimchi and Chutney. Yes, so Kimchi and Chutney is going to be about us, basically us and you, our anyone who wants to join our conversation. And I was talking to Alok,
Me.
at the beginning of each episode, why don't we start with something like, well, I copied this from my favorite podcast, The Guilty Feminist. They always start with like, I'm a feminist, but I like to flirt, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So do you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
for example, you said Koreans can't live without kimchi.
yeah, so I am Korean, but actually I can live without kimchi, no problem.
Oh, but I am Indian and I can't live without chutney. Maybe we come up with these things and maybe that becomes our ode to the guilty feminist, which I shall start listening to this week.
Perhaps we can end each episode with by saying what we are grateful for each day, because you and me, we talked about this, we the expert at worrying in general.
Yeah.
and we if we can start one thing at a time, just one thing that we are grateful for, then it'll be more, it will give us more positive energy, I hope.
Yeah, and it's a great thing because when we start with, it's, you said the guilty feminist starts with this, and my favorite podcast, my favorite murder ends with what people are grateful for or happy about. So
Oh.
it'll have a bit of both of our
Oh,
our
wow.
inspiration of our podcast. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, well, as an example, I am grateful for like this podcast opportunity, that grateful for that you proposed that to me. What's yours?
I'm grateful for that. I get bored with my own voice. So I'm grateful that you said okay to doing a podcast with me who gets bored with her own voice. And this is a time or a challenge for me to sort of be more interesting and go out to the world and talk about
Oh,
nothing that is imposed on us, but just what we want to talk about. So I'm
oh,
grateful to have you sitting there in
oh.
Korea right now, talking to me online and developing something new. It's so much fun.
Yay, yay. That's very, that's very nice. Thank you very much. And shall we close our introductory podcast here then?
All right. Yeah, I think that's a happy place to close it on. And have a good end to your weekend, and a fabulous start to the week.
How fabulous. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye.